Hi, welcome to the Walking Dead Support Group. As we review episode 7, Dead Come Knocking, I'm Jason McCarthy. To my right is Alex Mann. To his right is Keith O'Brien. And let's go right to Keith, the kill count.
All right, tonight's kill count for everybody out there. 10, 11. We got 16 zombie kills. We have a death by chair, right? Death by chair with Glenn, who was very impressive tonight. And we have, we'll go with the human kill count. We had one. We'll go with, I don't know, what are we going to go with on that? Redneck?
I'm going to call that the Otis factor.
Otis factor, because
The sacrificial lamb.
Michonne was not going to stick around long enough to have that guy stick around and join the group. Stabbed him through, and they sacrificed him as a getaway. Yet another skill you will learn in the zombie apocalypse survival.
how to sacrifice your friends and.
He wasn't a friend. He wasn't a friend. He was filet. Mignon.
He was something.
Yeah, give him up. So there we go.
All right. Well,
great
episode. To all the new followers and Twitter members and everything else, thanks for joining along. It's certainly been an interesting episode. We've got a lot of good kills this time around. Certainly, I think they're coming up with new and creative ways to kind of wipe out a walker or a biter, depending on what camp you're on. Yep. So with that going on, if you're watching us live or if you're watching us on the on Ustream, you can find us also on the Walking Dead support group on Facebook and at Twitter at WD Support Group, because Twitter doesn't let you have a lot of characters, so we had to go with that. So with that, let's jump right into it. It was called The Dead Come Knocking. So none of the major characters were killed.
No.
Right. Last week we were kind of leaning towards that there were going to be some crossing of paths of people who you thought were dead weren't dead, and people who in both camps. That didn't happen.
Yeah, we got that wrong.
So we got that one way wrong, but that's okay. We can live with that.
Yeah. Our batting average is way up.
Yeah, we're doing fantastic. Ever since episode 5, we've really gone downhill.
Yeah, we've gone downhill.
But that's zero.
I think we are batting zero. We haven't got one right yet.
No. But we are kind of leaning towards that. There's got to be a cast member killed off before the break. And we've got one more episode really before that. Mm-hmm. So who's it going to be? I'm still leaning towards it's going to be Maggie. Jason, what do you think? Who's going to get killed off?
You know, I was hoping it would be Phil.
Phil
Connors? There you go.
You're looking for the governor.
I could just... I envision that Andrea is going to use the closest of her relationship once she finds out who's infiltrating their town. And once she finds out what happened with Glenn and Maggie, to get close to and take out the governor. That's my hope, anyway. So.
Keith, who do you think is going to go? If somebody's got to go, who do you think is going?
If somebody's got to go, I would say that we're looking for a Mexican standoff between Daryl and Merle, and one of them is going to go.
You think it's going to be that quick?
Yeah, I think we saw a quick blurb. It's obviously Rick and them are outside the fence in Woodbury. It's the trailer or the sneak preview would lead us to believe that they're going to go into Woodbury on some kind of assault mission. But I think that if we're going to have a cliffhanger death of a major character, it's going to either be Daryl or Merrill in some kind of a Mexican standoff. Or maybe that'll be the cliffhanger. You got them both, face to face, knife versus crossbow, and neither one of them, Merle has the advantage, knows his brother's alive. Daryl doesn't know his brother's alive, and I think you're looking at some kind of that. It's going to be one of them.
Okay, well...
Keep in mind our batting average is 0. We haven't got one right yet.
One of the followers on our Twitter feed said, I predict that Merle will turn on the governor when Daryl gets into sight to protect him.
And we saw a bit of that in the end because he asked where your loyalties lie, and until he sees his brother, we'll never know where his loyalties are. But
yeah, if you looked at his face when he was asked that question, if you look at Merle's face when he was asked that question, it didn't seem like he knew for certain.
No, he's brought the point, but
yeah.
I still, I don't know. Who knows? It could be, like I said, it's a Mexican standoff, and then boom, the governor blows one of them away.
And Merle will have the advantage because, like you said, Daryl doesn't know Merle's alive. So
right.
So one of our Facebook followers, Brian Bragg, says, going back a couple of weeks, do we know if Carl really shot Lori in the head? Is she going to pop up as a walker, Lori mid-season break? And if she does, I hope she bites Carl. So there's a vote for Carl.
There's a vote for
to
Carl.
go.
You know, Carl's becoming a, I hate to say it, and I'm not getting on the Carl wagon, but he's a strong character. To answer his question, I mean, I firmly believe that Lori's dead.
Yeah.
She died, Carl did the thing. We've seen the talk a couple of times, and then, of course, Rick was leaving with the group and takes Carl aside and says, you're in charge, which is, again, fascinating. We've gone full circle with this season. First, he started out on point. He's running around free and clear, and he's making some kills. Now, when they left Herschel, the dead pirate Herschel.
Who? Santa the Apocalypse?
Yeah, Beth. Carol, who's recently resurfaced, and Jeff Foxworthy there. Alex is right.
Axel.
Axel. Sorry, not you.
I'm Alex.
I'm not. You're Axel. Axel. It's my dyslexia. My first letters. But Carl's becoming a strong character, and he gave him the speech before he left. You did really good. I'm proud of you, son. Yeah, I'm proud of you. You killed your mom. Good go. But to answer his question,
Rick was
Lori's
looking
dead.
for out of that marriage anyways. But ever since the Shane thing.
Ever since the Shane thing.
You bring up a good point in my mind here. What happens, first of all, it's bad when your most dependable person is a 12-year-old kid with a pistol.
Well, the most dependable person in this group is Daryl.
But as far as what was left at the prison, that's your leader. When you think about it, that's your leader. Now, what's to stop?
Who is Daryl?
No, Rick left.
Oh, left Carl in
Carl in
charge.
charge, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, prison yours.
Yeah, this is yours.
I don't have a lot
what's
for
it all
Christmas
for?
this year, but Santa brought you to prison.
Yeah, if I don't come back, lock everybody in the cell. Good luck.
Yeah.
What's to stop Jeff Foxworthy from making a move too?
It's true. Because
Yeah,
he's a deep, he's like a resurfacing character. I don't even remember if we saw him last week.
We barely saw him this
Spears,
one.
sir, next
He
week.
got one line really
Yep.
where he said,
I'm in.
I'm in,
And then he
he
didn't go.
wasn't in.
But again, he brings up a good point. We're trusting T-Dog 2 a lot, and we're trusting...
That's Oscar.
Oscar. And we're trusting Jeff Foxworthy, Axel, there, because like you said, he left him behind. But, like we say, Carl's a strong character all of a sudden.
Right. And there is no doubt that Carl is... They left us with the impression that somehow that walker ate all of Lori, and she's all gone.
We know that's not.
And we hadn't seen that before. But if there's bits, there's bits. If there's parts, and we didn't see any.
Yeah. I got a feed text back live from somebody here in town.
Okay.
Daryl won't die, then no one would watch the show.
Well, yeah.
So yet another person that's on the Daryl wagon.
Yeah, and even it was funny because obviously they're filming this well ahead, so they can't anticipate the amount of fan reaction to this level. But there was that scene where they're walking towards Woodbury, and Rick says, "Hey, I know what you did for me with the baby, and I just wanted to say thanks." Okay, so even Rick's got to admit, yeah, I'm on the Daryl bandwagon too.
Yeah. Rick's a Daryl fan.
Rick's a Daryl
Rick's a
fan.
Daryl fan.
All right, so let's touch on a little bit. We discussed this before we got into the show. Andrea, which I know you're not a big fan of, because she's a follower and she can't really stand on her own.
No, she can't stand on her own. But if we go with Jason's plan, where she's manipulative right now, and she's gonna get him in the end when she finds out what everything goes on, then she could jump right to the top of the list.
Well, she could.
She could. She
and,
won't.
and I think
She won't, but she could.
one of the things that we can see on Twitter with that feed, because we can see everybody else's comments, is that there's actually a whole fan base looking for Andrea's character to get back to where she was. That a lot of people are not happy that she just kind of quickly jumped into the bed with the governor, and that she's kind of quickly settled into Woodbury. And I think that's a fair comment about her character, that she didn't want to be a lot of places. She always wanted to stay on the move. And let's just go back that last episode where the girl with the bow couldn't, for the life of her, stop a walker. Andrea jumps over, knifes it, and turns around, and in my opinion, still the best line of the season, although We'll Make Cake with pink frosting was pretty close, that's how it's done. She has now become like a female version of Shane almost, where her desire to kill all these walkers to keep herself going. So now all of a sudden she's told she's off the wall. Oh, okay. You know, that just seems like a jump. So I think maybe the writers are struggling a little bit with her character there, and I think the fans are right.
They could bring that right back too, and just blame it all on her manipulation of the governor. I mean, maybe she's manipulating him, maybe she's not.
Well, I think you brought up a great point earlier, though, is that she's been on the run for so long that this is the first shot at normal she's had. So maybe she is trying to lie to herself a little bit. But time will tell on that one.
But isn't the governor manipulating her in a case of point? I mean, he puts her on the wall, right? He finds out she'll kill, takes her off the wall, and says that's not how it's done here. And she goes, no, that's exactly how it's done here. Takes her to the fights. She walks away from the fight. She comes back. I love the fights, you know. And then what does he do? He entrusts her to go with Dr. whatever his name is, Mindbender there, and supervise the killing of Ed Begley Jr. Sort of, whatever his name was, you know. So, and she wasted no time getting rid of him, you know. Take off the restraints. He's gonna lunge. No, he won't. Lunge. Boom. Right in the head. You know. So he knew. The governor knows that she can kill quickly.
Right.
And
Right.
she's not gonna mess around.
And I
Which
think,
makes her a strong character on your point, but who's manipulating who?
Maybe
At
they're
this
both.
well, I think she was manipulated. But I think she wanted that. She wanted that comfort. I don't think it was that she's not looking for a man. I don't think she's looking for that relationship. I think what she's looking for is that concept of normalcy, that you've spent a year almost of your life having to see people turn back from the dead. That can't be easy to do. And next thing you know, she's now running around in this nice little community, and it doesn't seem so bad. So I don't know who's telling
That's
some
a
of
great
our
comment right there.
watchers
Did
to.
you see this one?
Which one?
I don't know, just went back up because I can hear Alex typing.
Yep, I saw that one
Great.
too. And look at, there were some complaints earlier, by the way. We know some.
Oh, good job.
We know some people who are watching this actually are affiliated with the show. Tell AMC that during the commercials they're putting up those top 10 lists way too quick, and none of us can read that fast.
It's not sponsored by anything.
So fortunately, one of our viewers was able to post that through the DVR, so that's awesome.
And whose team is she on? That's right.
She's on
Mine.
well, she would have been on mine, but she liked the way you blew up a fake bunny. So
It
really,
wasn't a fake bunny, it was a bunny. Well, it was a stuffed bunny, but yeah.
so
Yeah,
anyway,
fake.
let's move on away from that.
I was aiming at the carrot.
So our next little topic, now that you've segued into it, was our Facebook poll. This week we had a
Oh,
Facebook
Lord.
poll, courtesy of Keith, asking who would you want to be your, was it zombie apocalypse?
No,
leader?
I wrote who's
Test
out of
vote?
all the hosts of the show, Jason, yourself, and me. Which team would you be on?
Okay.
That was
How did
the poll.
Jason do?
Jason got 2 votes.
2 votes, and it was,
And he controls both of them.
right, Jason got 2 votes.
Well, wait a minute. Disclaimer. Maybe he controls both of them.
No, I think.
Maybe somebody else
I think they're
controls
both
both of
controls,
them.
and she just threw
Yeah,
him a
and she
bone.
just threw him a bone.
No comment on it.
And Keith, how many did you get?
I think I got 4.
You got
at the last
4.
count. And I tried to get another one, but he wasn't a member of the group.
What's the next subject?
4.
And how many did Team Alex get?
I guess you got 8.
8? And if you really want to take out the H-cam?
I think you got too many people in your group. You can't fit in the Hyundai. So you're going to get rid of a few people.
If you can't, well, I need a notice.
You notice, right?
So even if we took out the H-cam vote,
Yeah.
then I still have 7, and that's
3
still
more.
more than you guys? Just saying.
Combined?
Combined?
Yeah.
My team's still bigger? Just so you know.
But you can
when the
change that
apocalypse
right now.
comes,
You
my
can log
Change
on.
your votes. You can change your votes
Change your
right now. You can
votes.
change your votes anytime.
Yes, you can.
You know?
Well, I'd like to point out-
And I think you kind of just. I think-
Jason's other vote says he doesn't control her, so that's not a vote for you anymore,
No,
or a vote for you.
you.
Hi Heather, how are you? Remember, I said you weren't annoying.
I think you've brought attention to the fact of the poll, and now more people are going to vote.
I hope so.
Maybe.
For me.
So let's move on.
What did you offer as a
I-
campaign promise? I forget now.
A free Walking Dead head in every oven. So
I think that's been done,
let's, yeah, well, that's how the governor got in.
right?
So Merle's racist persona has come back full-fledged. He really wanted a piece of T-Dog, and he really just wants to kind of go at him. So that was kind of ugly. What do you think? Where are we going to go with Merle? Is he? Which side are we seeing? We've seen him the docile, do what you tell me, governor, and now we're starting to see his kind of twisted side again? Where do you think we're going, Jay?
I think that's always been Merle. He's always been kind of both sides of the fence, whatever works for him. But he's always been outspoken, and I think that's going to end up doing him in. I think he's going to end up losing the governor as a fallback position. I think he's going to either be out on his own, or I don't know how, but somehow get back in with Rick's group.
I'm just sending out a quick tweet to the Facebook fans that
Or he's
eat a
gonna wind
cake
up
with
dead.
pink frosting.
Or he's going to wind up dead.
Keith?
I'll go with, like we commented on a couple weeks ago, Merle is just a tool in the toolbox. He's a, you know, I hate to say it, he's just a pit bull. And the governor uses him at his discretion. Whether it's, you know, beating the crap out of Glenn, or on patrol, or going after Michonne.
Yeah, he did put a beating on Glenn.
You know, he put a beating on Glenn, which brings back the racist thing, you know, he beat up on the poor Asian kid. But it was all part of the show, but Glenn did take a beating tonight. Whoa.
I'll tell you something, though. I'd rather have what was done to Glenn done to me than what the
Right,
governor did
and
to her.
we'll get there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But
But
my
I
point
think
is, my
was
point
it you
is
that said, though,
Merle.
that he almost looked like a walker when he was done beating him up?
I said that.
Yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. He
did.
really did. I mean, that
did,
beating,
man.
he looked like he had time.
One-handed, too.
How does he applaud? How do you, like when he's at the fight, so does he go, "Oh, good! Oh, I lost my fingers."
Can I tell you something? The sooner Merle picks his nose with that knife
That's
on, the
gonna be
happier
awesome.
I'll be, you know?
That'd be great. He's missing his nose. What happened? I got an itch.
You know? Go in knuckle deep with the little, you know, with the blade.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd be great. That'd be, you know what? That'll be his next kill.
that'd be
He'll pick a walker's or a biter's nose.
No, I mean, you know, I just think Merle, I don't think Merle's changed. He's just been the same old Merle,
Right.
you know? He puts down a false front, like he, you know, tells Glenn, whoa, 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 puts the gun down, and then what does he do? The first chance he gets, he throws a round over his head to distract him, you know?
Right.
He's just gonna, like I said, he's just a tool in the toolbox.
Another one that we can talk about is obviously we saw the partnering up of Michonne to Rick's camp,
Right.
and you know Carl was the one who pretty much saved her.
Yep.
And when they brought her in, they obviously weren't too trusting, but you knew that was gonna evolve pretty quick. I mean, they were giving us pictures of Michonne and Axel and Daryl and Rick going out hunting.
Mhm.
So we knew that was gonna
We knew that was
gonna get resolved pretty quick in this episode. So if Rick and the governor have the same approach to new people coming in, I'm gonna take your weapon, we're gonna treat you, we'll give you what you need, and you can go if you want.
I got another team member.
Goody. So how close to Rick and the governor are they? Because Michonne obviously kind of threw him the look of, oh, good, another one.
Another one.
Another guy telling me what to do. And this one, she even said, don't touch me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the difference between the two. Not so much how close they are, but they run things in similar ways. But the difference between the two is everything that the governor does is to manipulate those around him, like while Rick pretty much wipes his mind on his sleeve. I mean, he's not trying to manipulate anybody. He tells you flat out, you know, I don't trust you. This is how it's going to be. You know, once you prove yourself or are useful to me, then you know, we'll go from there.
Well, he wasted no time. You know, Rick trusted her right off the get-go. You
Mhm.
know, I mean,
Well, not-
no, for a
right.
show, not for showtime. I mean, whatever. I mean, you know, there was the runtime. I mean, they had her locked up. They were talking to Carol, and then they finally got down to questioning her and stitching her up, and they got the info they needed out of her to make a conscious decision. Do we trust her? Do we not trust her?
Right.
Do they really trust her? In
I-
essence, they just need her right now to
I
get where
think
they're going.
I think they do. I think Rick's got a pretty good judge of character.
Does she trust them?
No.
No.
But, you know, and we don't want her really trusting anybody yet. I think, did you notice how she fell back when they were the walkers were coming around? And she didn't pull out her sword right away, and she was watching everybody kind of
Yeah.
slice and dice, and she just was like,
How good are you? Before
Yeah.
I show you how good I am.
and that was a very interesting approach to doing it, because, and nobody really knows she wasn't swinging it. Like, no one in the group is like, hey, you know, you want to take that nice katana sword out and start doing some damage?
Yeah.
But she did seem genuinely impressed by their ability to kind of take it down. And she even brought up the whole thing about the prison. You took this prison? Like, yeah, we did. So I would almost say that short of maybe 1 or 2 walkers stuck somewhere, they're implying now that the prison's taken. And they control the whole thing. So the real question is, do you really want to try and assault Woodbury, or do you want Woodbury to try and assault you?
Well, we kind of touched on that real quick before the show ended. You know, now Woodbury's thinking about making a run at the prison. Meanwhile, the prison's making a run at Woodbury. You know, you're going to have the wrong people on the wrong side real quick here.
But the difference is that when Team Prison infiltrates Woodbury, there's not so much that they can do as far as taking prisoners.
No.
But on the flip side of the coin, when Phil's guys go in, then you have a serious problem. I mean, Carl's there, the baby's there. You know, everybody they're pretty much too weakened at this point to really offer any kind of resistance, especially against high firepower that they're going to obviously face.
Well, the one thing that we noticed from the preview is Rick looks like he picked up one of those high-capacity weapons and was firing over the wall. Yeah. So it's, you know, and that's one of the things that we always have a problem with any kind of movie, whenever there's gunplay. You could have, like, the small gun, you take out a guy with the big gun, but you never pick up the big gun and then go after everybody else. Like, at least, you know, here they're kind of going, I might need this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this. So here's one I wanted to propose to you guys, and I'm going to throw this out to the groups also. Is Rick deliberately keeping people out of the group so he does not have to deal with the loss of another person? And I'm going to say, Michonne's the example for this. I don't want to bring in anybody else in, because if I get invested in these people, I'm drained when we lose them. And I feel like it's another person I have to keep an eye on. Now, Michonne brings something to the table. She's obviously a warrior, but he's got a lot of people who aren't, and he needs to protect. Now he's got Herschel. And you have to protect Herschel because he's your only doctor. Mm-hmm. So what is Rick's reason for wanting to keep everybody out? Jason?
Did you see his relief when he saw Carol? And that, to me, kind of supports what your theory is. But for the most part, I don't think he wants to exclude so much. I think he just has so much trouble trusting anybody that he won't let anybody in, either emotionally, physically, doesn't matter. It's just, he's shut down. As far as, if you're in an extreme use to him, then possibly you'll be okay.
Keith?
I still say Rick's character is just way emotionally drained. I mean, we constantly see him taking on the struggle of the group, and in the end, he or somebody close to him or somebody that he directs, you know, puts the end to somebody. You know, whether it, you know, you go back and, you know, he killed Sophie, he killed Shane. You know, it's just I just think he's, you know, for a character, he's playing both sides of a dangerous, I hate to say it's sword with Michonne around, but you know, I don't know, you know, so I just don't think he wants to let anybody else in anymore. You know, I mean, he was sitting there waiting, you know, and Carl says, should we help her? Should we help her? And he wasn't really reacting too quick, you know. At the very least, they could have shot through the fence, which Carl did in the end. I just think he's tired of, you know, but and then in the end, he was trying to disarm the guy in the shed, you know, so he's playing both sides. Right? I want to help you.
Great.
I don't want to help you. He runs around for the door, Michonne runs him through, and then instantly he comes up with the idea, bing, open up the door, we're going to toss him out for fresh meat, and we're going to go out the back door.
Right.
So it's like, as soon as he tries, and then he gets, you know, thrown down in a hole, and then he crawls out and makes a conscious decision. I wish he would just make it firsthand.
He might just be thinking logically, period. I mean, he might not let any emotional thinking into his reactions, his actions.
Mm-hmm. All right. One other one that I think we need to touch on, and this was, if you're on Twitter, I saw this, we saw it on Facebook, but more so on Twitter, when the governor was trying to interrogate Maggie, and the implied threat of a rape. People were losing their mind, and it was instant, like people wanted him dead. And when she basically just told him, do whatever you got to do, I'm not telling you anything, I think that's when he kind of figured out, I can threaten them with personal death, but they won't give it up. and that's when he had to kind of turn it around. But I can't, I don't understand that threat. That was like shocking that they were going to go there. And then he brings her in like that. I mean, obviously they're going for a psychological factor, but he just said, well, we're going to send you back to your people. And then he threatens her with that. So you've got to know your time here with him is marked. You know, like there's a clock ticking every time you're with him. What do you think? I mean, that was probably one of the most shocking moments I've seen.
That was the shock. I mean, that was to be honest with you, it's a little bit shocking for The Walking Dead and AMC.
Yeah, that's more of a Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy scene, you know. It was a little. I mean, I'll admit it was a little for the show. For being a fan of the show, it was a little hard to watch. But then, as I thought about it, you've got Merle putting a beat down on Glenn because that's his job. He's a beat down guy, and he's going for the psychological on her, even with, you know, an attack on Maggie. I mean, she wasn't having it. If anything, I view it that maybe this is the governor testing her to find out exactly, you know, she wasn't going to give up any information. You know, I mean, you were right there at the point. I know it's a television show, but if you take the whole scene as a context, you were right there. She was not giving it up for anything.
Right.
And so my point is maybe he was just trying to find her breaking point, and he found it, and it wasn't there, and he wasn't willing to go over, you know, the line and cross the line, or at least the show wasn't willing to cross that line. And maybe it'll come back to bite him because Maggie's
They'll walk right over and bite him.
Well, I'm just saying that, you know, Maggie knows that he's not going to do it, so she'll hopefully maybe Maggie will kill him. So, I mean, it was a little shocking to see the scene, to be honest with you. But. And then, like you said, he brings her in there and then puts a gun to Glenn's head, and she gave it up real fast.
So as we are getting kind of close to time, because it's amazing how fast a half hour will go when we're talking about this show. So next week is the mid-season finale, and there's a lot of other groups out there saying, "Oh, it was this week." It was, you know, it's not. It's next week. We get one more week, and according to IMDb, it will return February. And if I had to guess, it'll be late February, and then And they finally posted that there will be 8 episodes. So we're getting another 8, which is good. So what we're planning on doing for all of you guys and for ourselves, because we're going to go through withdrawal, we're going to do our wrap-up show. We'll do our episode 8 next week, and then the following week we're going to do a complete recap, an hour-long show, and we'll let you know more details about that. But we all decided tonight we are going to do an hour-long special about the whole season so far and what we're expecting. And then we'll do another hour before the season starts back up in February to kind of get everybody fresh and caught up and talk about whatever the new stories that are getting leaked are out. And then we'll go right back to our half hour after the show's schedule for another 8 weeks. So the next one is going to be Made to Suffer. I think we got a good idea of what that is, so we probably don't need to beat that one up too much. No. So then my favorite part of the show, we got 2 things now. What did you learn tonight?
What did I learn tonight? I learned that Rick's group should be named Maggie and Glenn. They are truly the 2 toughest people in that group. And you know, whether it be the show writers or whatever, Glenn he was a very good character. Right. He took the beating. He wasn't willing to give up his group. He obviously knew Merle couldn't be trusted. But yes, I think maybe they should be leading the group, or
I think they're setting
Rick
up.
would lead the group, and
I think Glenn is getting set up.
You know, Glenn and Maggie again are, you know, they're very tough characters.
Okay, what did you learn tonight?
I was kind of at a toss-up between, you know, what Fight and Flight does for you.
30 seconds or less. Just so you know, we'll close.
But you pretty much covered that. To me, it's the whole moral aspect of it. To be willing to sacrifice another human being. What do you have to go through to just offer up another human being?
I think it's numbers.
You know?
You got to say, this one saves these 5.
Right.
And that leads me to my favorite,
But
what I learned
make that
tonight.
choice.
Well, he had that choice. He's responsible for those 5, and I'll give you the perfect example. The hillbilly they found in that woods. What I learned tonight, during the zombie apocalypse, do not drink moonshine. You forget there's a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah,
that guy woke up, he had no clue what they were talking about.
I'll call the cops.
I'll call the cops.
I am a cop.
I am a
Great.
cop.
So that's what I learned. But favorite kill?
I don't know. I wasn't really taking notes on favorite golf.
I'm
Sorry,
going with
Skip.
Glenn's.
Oh, absolutely.
Glenn's through
Oh,
the
Glenn's
bull's eye
taking- oh, yeah, I'm
socket.
sorry, yeah.
Absolutely.
I did say that, death by chair.
Death by chair.
So I guess I will go revert back to that, death by chair.
All right.
Or, yeah, death by armchair.
So that's unanimous.
That's
Yep.
unanimous. We'll go with that. That
All
was
right,
the
that's our
best kill.
first unanimous, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, so we are near the end of our half hour. I want to thank Jason once again and Keith once again.
Thank you.
I want to thank all the viewers who've been joining us, the Facebook and the Twitter. Once again, you guys are great. You make this show so much more fun to watch. And I'm Alex Mann on behalf of Hobart Community Access and Media. Keep watching the Walkers. See you next time.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.